there, my name's Karl and I'm a local chef in Surgeon's Delicatessen and Restaurant in Spalding. Today we're going to make a leftover potato and cheesecake, which the recipe you can download from the website and you can cook along with me. Now today's ingredients are about a pound of leftover mash. I mean, if you haven't got a pound, it doesn't matter, but the recipe is for a pound. You need the tops of 2 spring onions and half or whole, depending on the size of your onion, finely chopped, some parsley for garnishing, some breadcrumbs, some leftover cheese in your fridge, it doesn't matter what cheese it is, any kind of cheese, an egg to bind the potato mixture, and also thereafter an egg per person for poaching to put on top of your potato cake when it's made. You'll also need some oil and some butter for frying, a little bit of vinegar to go in your water when you poach your eggs, which will help your eggs from spreading in the pan. Right, so let's get going. First, say with the mash, we've got the mash here, we'll leave the mash to one side for the moment, and we'll prepare the other ingredients that we need to cook. So, we've got our onion, which we've already peeled. Okay. Now if the onion's quite large, then perhaps you only need half an onion. So decide for yourself how much onion you'd like in your potato cake. If you like the flavour of onion, use the whole one. If you don't, use half. We'll just finely chop this. Keep the core at one side for some stock or whatever you want to use it for. We don't like to put it in our potato cake because the core is a little bit bitter, but when you do a long cook on the stove for a stock, that will take that bitterness away. We've got a little pan here. I'm going to turn that on, medium high, a little splash cooking oil, just a little bit. We'll add our onions to that pan, and we're going to sweat them off again. We're going to without colour. So put them straight into there. Cook. Now, as I said, the spring onions are to give a nice little bit of green colour and a little bit of flavour to our mashed potato. So we don't want to use the bottoms. We can save those for your salad later or tomorrow or whatever. All we want to use is the top. Get a nice knife and just literally finely chop it. Yeah, all you want to use is the green. When it gets about there, stop, and that's perfect to use for your salad another day. Okay, so just check that they're all broken up properly. Sometimes when you chop spring onions, they don't always break up, and add that to your mashed potato. Okay, yep, so we've got in so far in there, we've got the spring onion, mashed potato. We're going to add some seasoning, some salt and pepper. Again, as much as little as you like. And bear in mind, if this is using up leftover mash, it may already be seasoned, so check to make sure you know whether it's been seasoned. Have a little taste. If you like this recipe that much, you might even use fresh mash, in which case season away. Okay, got our onions frying off. And again, we want to fry them without colour, just to take away the harshness of the raw onion and get the flavour. And that lovely aroma of cooked onions is always pleasing. No matter where you go, you walk past a burger van or something like that when you're out and about, first thing you smell, even at the fun fair, is the fried onions. So give that a little mix. Okay, now the onions are now cooked, so we'll add them to it as well. Yeah, we only want to get a little cooked going, just to get them going. They are going to be cooked again at a later point. Turn the excess off. We're going to add a whole egg. Leave there for a second, just to mix these in first. Now what the egg will do is, when we cook it, it'll help to bind the mash, and also when we come to cook it, it'll hold it in place. It won't go wishy-washy. So one whole egg in there, pop it straight in. Give it a good mix. And now, as you can see, this is quite runny. We're never going to make anything to fry with that, like that. So what we need to do now is add some of the cheese. Again, about 120 to 170 grams, which is about 5 to 7 ounces, depending on what you want to put in there. Okay, to the side. And we're also going to add some dried breadcrumbs now. You can buy breadcrumbs, but to be honest, you've always got crust left in the cupboard and you've got one of these food processors. You can actually just dry it out overnight in the oven, leave the oven off, just leave it in the oven, not wrapped, and then by the next morning it'll be nice and dry. Put it in the food processor, make your own breadcrumbs, save buying them. So, again, the amount is to your discretion. You want to get this mixture so that it's nice and firm, but not too firm, so it's like a solid. And that's what the breadcrumbs will do. They're going to absorb this excess moisture. Okay, a few more breadcrumbs. There we go. And now it's starting to come together. You can see it's not sticking to the sides anymore of the bowl. It's starting to become much more moist, less moist and more firm. Get the excess off there. Mix that in.
Flip over, please.
Okay. Alright, so we've got that far. Now to make this do the job we want it to do, we need now to make a sausage and wrap it in cling film and set it aside in the fridge for 5 to 10, 15, maybe 15 minutes, just to firm up before we can cut it and make our little cakes. So I'll just quickly do that. Piece of cling film, get our mixture and just slide it out onto there. Cling film, if you roll the cling film over, you should be able to get that right there. Just so we get a nice sausage, and hold each end and just do that. Okay, twist and turn it so you get a nice fat looking sausage, which will then set aside in the fridge so to cool down and firm up. Right, okay, so we've now got our potato cake is rested in the fridge. It's now time to turn it into little cakes. So best thing to do is leave it in the cling film and snip off the fine end, just here. Keep that, obviously we use it, but we want that way, it gives us a nice shape, okay? And then we'll get to probably about 3/4 of an inch thick there, and cut straight through. The reason I leave the cling film on is at the moment, it'll hold the potato cake together, and so we're ready to get to the next job. So we'll do 2 of those. You do 2 of these per person, or per portion. Once you've tasted them, you might try 3. I'll just have to wait and see. Okay, set the rest aside for other jobs. Right. Now gently remove the cling film. You might just slip it with a knife just to get in easier. It should come straight off the top. Do make sure you've got it all off, because if you haven't, when you come to fry, it'll be a bit of a disaster. And you should be able to lift it off like that quite easily. Okay, one there. And then we've got some flour here, which I showed you earlier. Now what we need to do is just put these into the flour and just roll them about in the flour a little bit. Bear in mind, this is mashed potato, it's quite delicate. And just pat off any excess. Just use your hand just to reshape, so you've got a nice little round little cake. So all the excess flour, just gently brush it off, put it on one side, get your next cake, do the same, roll all the edges in the flour, the other side, put a bit on top, and again, just pat it with your hands, and these bits will come off quite easily. I'll set that to the side. Bring your flour away. Wipe your hands. Into our frying pan, we're now going to put on high a little bit of oil and a little knob of the butter as well. Just a little knob. That'll add flavour to your cake, and it helps to brown it in the pan and give it a nice rich taste. Okay, let's wait for that pan to get nice and hot. Also, whilst we're frying these, we're also going to poach our eggs. Now that water's on. And you see a little splash of vinegar in your water will help much more readily. Any vinegar, malt vinegar, sherry vinegar, white wine vinegar, whatever you've got lying around the cupboard really. Just a little splash, don't need much. Lid back on to help that boil a bit quicker. Right, so we've now got our butter and our oil in the pan. It's nice and hot. We've got our water on boiling for our eggs, and that's near enough to the boil. So we'll now get our potato cake and just put it in the pan. And we're going to fry that on both sides until it's nice and golden brown. Now whilst they're frying, we need to poach our egg. Now, there's a little trick to poaching eggs to help you get the white to wrap around the yolk. You might see some of these chefs on telly do it, or this chef does it as well. But basically we get our whisk, we've got our pan, the water's boiling, we make a whirlpool. Get that really going, so that in the centre of our pan, it's whizzing around like so. Crack our egg and drop it in the centre of the whirlpool. And what will happen is the egg will whiz round, the white will whiz round with it, and it'll all stay together nicely. And that should poach away happily. It's just what it's doing. Now if you've got a clean tea towel, that's great. If not, we've got a bit of blue paper here, and this is just to get our poached egg out and get rid of the excess water, so we don't have water running all over our pan. As you can see in our pan here, we've got our potato cake frying away. I'm going to check it up and just check it. That's just a beautiful colour. That's just what we want. Okay. Let's pick the other one up. The other one could do a little bit longer, so we turn it back. And when this heats up, the egg that you put in the mixture, along with the breadcrumbs, is going to absorb all the moisture and homogenise it and give you a firmer cake. It won't be wishy-washy. If it starts to be wishy-washy in your pan, it means that your mixture wasn't dry enough in the first place. Okay. And there you can see these two beautiful cakes, lovely colour. We've got our plate to serve on as well in a moment, it's just there. We've got our parsley for our garnish. And our poached eggs coming along lovely. I'll just check that out. You know, have a quick look. As you can see, it's a lovely shape, and that's all for that little whisking. And the egg needs another minute or so, and we'll have a nice runny yolk to run through our potato and cheesecake. Keep them moving around the pan. Moving around a bit. Oh, it's lovely. The reason we have oil with the butter is to stop the butter from burning, and that's what the oil will do. There we go. Turn that over like so. Now they're nearly ready. We want to get our egg out. Okay, so we'll put that to there, and get our egg. Now, got a little feel. Almost there. Another 20 seconds. Right. Okay, poached egg. Out she comes. Drain off the excess and then roll it onto your pan. There. You get a little knife. If you want to make it fancy, you can take off these little straggly bits that are around the edges. Just remove them gently. And then dab your egg. Just keep it warm in the cloth like that for a few seconds while we plate up our potato cakes. We'll move our pan of water out of the way. Get cake number 1, cake number 2, move the pan from the heat, there. Now our egg's nice and dry, runny in the middle, beautiful. Pick it up, put it in your hand gently, top it there, like so. Little leaf of parsley, and there we have Beautiful. Potato cake, poached egg. Great for a Sunday brunch. Delicious. And if you want to make it look really fancy and flash, then what you do is just before you serve it, get your knife and go like that. Give it a little push and watch that ooze down. And that just looks super. And don't forget to go on the website, these recipes. There are lots of them on the website, not just this one. So please feel free and happy cooking.